I'm next going to ask Javier Firpo, the Director of Education Programs and CSR at Intel Latin America, to talk for a little while.
I'm going to stand up because I'm a teacher and I like to stand up. And I'm going to ask you if you could please turn on some of the lights. I like to have visual contact. Not these. These you could put them down a little bit if you like. I can only see that sector. These guys here are probably falling asleep. Okay. Can you give us a little bit more room lighting? Okay. It's good to be here. I wanted to congratulate the organizers and thank them for the invitation, for being here. It's good that Diego was here in the inauguration. The support from national public policy is key for the development of what we're talking about. You guys are entrepreneurs. You guys are here because you're captivated by the agenda of this event, of this EmTech event and its backgrounds. Here on this panel this week, this morning we've been asked to talk about education and technology. I understand that there are no teachers here in the room, but all of you are entrepreneurs who are starting up companies that you're going to sell for millions of dollars. Oh, but we have 2, 3, 4 teachers here. That's good. You see, there are a number of hands up here too. This is wonderful. You can tell I'm Argentinian, right? I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's what I have to live with. So how many of you have children? Nephews, nieces, nephews, younger siblings. All of you have some loved one, some small loved one who is in school today. Those of you who are teachers, I would invite you to forget your students for a few minutes and to think about this loved one. Think about your child, your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, who's 10, 12, 15 years old today. Have you identified that person? You've all fallen asleep. You've identified that person?
Yes.
Okay. That person, who's 15 years old today, will go out to will start working at least in 10 years. That'll be 2024. It's 2014 this year. So why? Because they'll finish school, they'll finish high school, they'll choose a career, they do well 1 year, they do badly another year. So on average, 10 years. And in 10 years, they'll be sitting here in EmTech 2024 to see what they are going to do. What they're going to do during their first job. And what opportunities, what work opportunities are going to exist in Medellin, in Colombia, in Antioquia, in Latin America, around the world in 10 years. I don't have a crystal ball. What I do know is that your children's work opportunities, your nieces, nephews, work opportunities, and your students' work opportunities, for those of you who are teachers, are going to be different to the opportunities they have today, but all of them are in school today. There are teachers, colleagues of those who are seated here, who are training and educating the next generation of Colombians. And I wanted to mention today the importance of medium and long-term public policies beyond Minister Molano, beyond President Santos. It doesn't matter who's governing in Colombia in 10, 15, 20 years. We're talking about public policies, long-term public policies, to ensure the greatest success for your children and for your students. We're good? You've all fallen asleep now? Okay. So, what is the role of technology in education? And David was mentioning this. Technology has a natural attraction, has that je ne sais quoi that makes children naturally attracted to technologies. And the problem that our educational systems have I'm sorry, because of what I was looking at, because of what I know about of Colombia, you're on the right path. You've done fantastic things. What we need to keep in mind is which is the next step? Where are we going? And technology has a crucial role to play in this. Why? Because what's the goal of education in schools? Its goal is to teach the students, to teach our children the times tables, the capital of countries, chemical formulas. That's part of the curriculum. But the fundamental goal, why do you send your children to school? The goal is to give children the tools so that they can do well in their lives. And that's what education is about. And technology has to be a means to achieve this. Technology isn't the end. Technology is the tool that will help with this process. And we need to use these tools well, because they can be used badly. Sometimes I hear, oh, doctor, tell me, should we invest in technology? Should we buy computers? Yes, Rued. And I answer with 2 words. Yes and no. Because if it's used properly, then it's going to be worth it, and the investment is going to be worth it. But if it's used badly, then that investment isn't going to be worth it. And we have very well-known cases where we have success cases and failures, and we need to learn from our failures. So, this was a short introduction that took a few minutes, but I wanted to set the stage. I wanted to show you what we're talking about. How many of you have heard of Khan Academy? In Antioquia, there's a campaign and contest, but I wanted to tell you the start of Khan Academy. It's linked with technology, with education, with public policies, with online contents, with open online courses that are available today and that can be used as an educational strategy and that will be very useful if used properly. This is the logo of Khan. The story began a number of years ago when a guy called Salman Khan was very good at mathematics. And he had a family member who wasn't very good in mathematics. And so Uncle Khan would teach young nephew Khan over the phone and would give him math lessons. I don't know if this is true or not, but I say
It's true enough.
es suficientemente cierto. So Uncle Khan said, well, what's this all about? And so he decided to put a little camera in front of the blackboard and to start filming the arithmetic class for his nephew, and so he put it up on YouTube. And so the advantage for his nephew was that his nephew could look at it at 3 a.m., could look at it at whatever he wanted, and he shared it with other classmates. And so Uncle Khan no longer had to be every day an hour on the telephone, and he would just record it and put it up on the internet, and his nephew would watch it whenever he liked and as many times as he liked. And so the end of the year came, the end of the class came for Mr. Khan's nephew, and the classrooms, math grades had been higher than the historical level of the class region. And they also all wanted to be regents, and so they started asking what happened. And so my uncle did this and put it on the internet, and that's how this global videotech started becoming massified, and it now doesn't only have mathematics content, but you who are entrepreneurs have tons of content of economics, of history, of maths, of biology. You have a lot of content, and this is open content They're in English, and then what's happened is that a lot of communities have started to translate this content. And that's what we started doing a number of years ago in Latin America. But we started with some ugly news, a natural disaster, which was the earthquake that occurred in Chile in 2010. You remember that it was one of the largest earthquakes in the history of Chile. It was in the month of February, and it will have its 4th anniversary on February 27th. So what happened? The earthquake happened, and classes were just starting in the southern hemisphere. We start our classes in February or March, depending on the countries, and there were no schools. There weren't enough schools to cover the demand for educating children, and the government made a very important decision. And it said no one can stop going to school. We're going to shorten the school day, and all the children in the system have to go to school. Lower number of hours, but nobody can stop going. So all the children in the areas affected by the earthquake went from 8 to 10, from 11 to 1, from 3 to 5. So everyone went to school for less hours. And so as Intel, we went to them and said, we're a socially responsible company, we're a technological company. We need to try and do things to complement and to compensate through technology the lower number of hours that kids are going to school. And so we started to look for online available for content that was available online in 2010 to see what was available. And we found paid content. It was called Alex. Maybe some of you have heard of it. Intel donated the license for all the student for the year that had to sit the end-of-year exam so they could go to the University of Chile. Chilean students have to sit an exam in 9th grade, which is key for their future careers. And the problem was that if the kids did badly in this exam, that they would have bad consequences for the rest of their lives. So we focused on maths education for the kids who would have to sit that exam, that maths exam in 2010. And so the content arrived, they started using it, and it was one of the best known success cases in the use of maths technology. Why? Because they had the motivation that David was mentioning. The government was involved. The school's directors were involved. The educational community were involved. The kids were passionate about technology and by using maths. And what happened? The year ended, and the kids who sat that yearly exam that year got a higher average than the historical grades of the children in those schools because they'd used that Alex software. So what happened then? Next year, Intel wasn't there because Intel donated for that first year. And so we started saying, so what's going to happen next? And the school said, it doesn't matter. Because of the success that we had last year, we're going to take the money out of our pocket and we're going to pay for the license for all the kids in our school who would have to sit the exam that year. They had a festival, they made raffles. I don't know where they got the money because it's a very poor school. They bought the license, and the next year, they repeated what they'd done the previous year. What was the result? A failure. It didn't work. It was the same sector, the same program, the same content, the same goal of the students. It didn't work. Why? Because in the second year, they didn't have the motivation that the earthquake had generated the year before, the community actions. And that's where I ratify what David just said. For this content to be successful, we need to have a motivation. That year, when this program didn't work, Khan Academy appeared. It was the birth, it was the flourishing of Khan around the world. And so we said, let's talk to our friends in Khan Academy and ask them to let us translate the content into Spanish and to make this content available to the schools affected by the earthquake. And they said, yes, of course you can do this. And so I said, okay. I'm the director and I'm responsible for Latin America and the Caribbean and Brazil included. We're not just going to do something that will have an impact on Chile. We're going to make an investment so that we can have an impact on all Spanish and Portuguese-speaking communities. So I said, I don't have the resources. We need to see where we get the resources for that, and not just financial resources, but also resources for dissemination. And that's where our friends of the IDB got involved. The Inter-American Development Bank, this is their official logo that we usually use when we offer our presentations. They have special funding for this kind of programs, and RELPE is the Latin American Network for Educational Portals. Colombia Aprende is part of RELPE, and it's a network of content that is disseminated in Latin America. So we did this, and we started to translate the content, the Khan Academy Maths content into Spanish. First of all, into Spanish. This was being directed by our team in Chile. And what we found was, with all respect for the accent of our friends in Chile, the Chilean accent is very similar to the Argentinian accent, which really isn't something we wanted. So we started looking at Spanish CNN. We wanted to find a neutral accent that would be acceptable in Latin America and Colombia, and we ended up with a Colombian who has an impeccable accent. So when you hear the content in Spanish, you will hear an impeccable Colombian accent there. I would have preferred that it was an Argentinian, but hey. So what resources does Khan have? And that's what I'm going to finish this time here. So what do we have? We have videos. We have a massive videotheque of online videos available. This is on YouTube. You can search and you'll find it in any language you're interested in. We have a knowledge map. We have exercises. And we have a reporting system. And so what's this about? You'll receive these materials. So why do I mention this? Because this is part of a strategy where we use this resource, this massive open online course. It's in the cloud, and it's also available offline for communities that don't have access to the internet. We could also have this on the servers, and it can be distributed using CDs, or it can be uploaded to machines. But this is an exercise engine with a platform that will allow teachers to follow up their students very specifically and individually, and each student could go at his or her own pace. So maybe David isn't so good at mathematics, and I could say I'm going to teach you, and David's very good at chemistry, and I'm very bad at chemistry, and he could teach me. And so peer learning is very good with this system. In the United States, there's a well-known concept which is called flip the classroom, to reverse the order of the classroom. And when we go to the university or the school, and the teacher says, for next class, come with such and such a chapter already read. How many of you read that chapter? I never did. Sometimes I did. The natural attraction of technology makes it that if the teacher says, for next class, please look at this content on the internet, or watch this video, children will look at it, children will watch the video because you can take advantage of the natural attraction that kids feel for technology. But imagine for a teacher, and the teachers know this, correcting maths exercises. How many times does it take to grade maths paper? It takes hours, and this system does it automatically. This system does it automatically because it's in the cloud, and it's a system that facilitates teachers' lives. It attracts teachers and it attracts students. Okay, we have 550 videos. Here there's an important difference that's worth mentioning. Everything that has these three logos are certified that the translations are good. There are other translations that other people have done, but I don't know if those translations are good. So here we have the content of the YouTube channel where you can find them. This is just one of the channel, but there are many other places where you can access this content. There are tutorial videos that teach parents, students, and teachers how to use these tools. And I'm not going to talk too much about what Antioquia is doing specifically because David's already mentioned it, but at this time, the mathematical competition is being performed right now, which is being used as a tool of motivation to get students interested in mathematics, to make mathematics something cool, something fun. Teachers are a key part of this, and so that's why it's important that you teachers share this, help implement and develop teachers, because trained teachers and teachers who are trained in these methodologies will ensure quality students. So with this, I want to end. I want to thank you once again for your attention. This is my email. I'm always happy to receive comments and news about things you're doing. I wish you a lot of success. Congratulations to Colombia and Medellin for all you're doing in education, and a lot of success in your ventures.
Javier, forgive my ignorance. How funny does a Argentinian accent sound to a Colombian?
That's not a question I should answer.
I have a serious question. What is the biggest mistake, the largest failure that we set ourselves up for when we apply technology to education?
The main failure that I've perceived is when we focus on the device, when we focus on the technology as such and period. When we hand out devices at a school, we take a picture and we leave. When we forget the professional development of the teachers, that's one of the greatest failures and one of the risks we have when focusing on technology. Sometimes I'm asked, technology, yes or no? And I say, technology, yes, but for what? What is that technology going to be used for? As a tool and as a pedagogical tool for teaching.
Thank you.